Hi, I'm David Welky with Design Velke, Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and I'm at Throttle Stop, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. I brought you today a 73 911 RSR Tribute car. This car is in Gelb Grün. It's finished in Glazerite, 22 line, single stage. It's an all steel bodied car.
All right, what we're driving here is the new Velke Porsche 911 RSR, powered by a SuperTech high butterfly MF5 flat 6, 5-speed 915 trans.
When I build these cars, I start off by stripping the car down, sending it out to be acid dipped. And when I received this car back, it was by far the cleanest 911 I've ever seen, sheet metal wise. No pitting anywhere on it. I get the car what they call an 80% acid dip, get the car back to our shop, and then we do all the metal work, which is flaring the fenders, which are all butt welded steel flares front and rear. When we're done with the metal work, we send the car back for the final 20% acid dip, and then the car goes to Detroit and we have it E-coated. So they'll put an electrodeposition primer on this, which draws in between any lap weld, factory pinch weld. It's completely primed, modern day technology. Then we get the car back and then we put it in our paint shop and finalize the bodywork and get the car painted, and then we can start our assembly on it. All the front suspension pan areas are smooth. There's no schuts at all on the bottom of the car. Keeps the weight down, adds to the race car feel of this car.
So this RSR recreation is certainly raw. Very little interior, purely correct seats. This car is meant for one thing. That's going fast.
I try to keep the car as lightweight as possible. Sparse, real minimalistic interior. No radio, no heater, no cell phone jack. I try to keep it the way Porsche made the RSRs back in the day in '73. No rear floor mats even. I mean, it just has the rubber mats in the front. But as far as the exterior of the car, I think it's really close to being correct. It's the way the paint finish would have been when the car left the factory in '73. Just a little bit of orange peel, nice gapping, and minimalistic. All right, up front, this is kind of where I spend a lot of time on this car. Renline makes the front strut brace for this, but we've also got a polybronze bushing on the top of the struts. Elephant Racing makes that, along with a lot of polybronze on this car. One of the things I like to do is delete all of the drillings in this car that it had for wiring harnesses, heater pipes. All of these have been welded up. These areas here, and all of the unnecessary holes going into the cockpit or through are gone. Then I have a company in the Netherlands make me a very sparse wiring harness based off of an early '68 era small fuse block Kroon wiring harnesses. Every wire here is being used. There's nothing laying around that old radio wiring or anti-lock brake wiring or anything like that. It's all just what this car needs to work. We do all the lacing on the wiring like a lot of the early Porsche cars had, just for the sake of history. Single fuel pump mounted up top, twin reservoirs for the brakes, which are large hot rodded 930 brakes that I was able to get from Elephant Racing also. And this is 100 liters steel center fill, heavily baffled fuel tank. The blower unit on this is plumbed in for a high-speed defrost only. It doesn't have heat exchangers on the engine, so there's no heat. It's just for fresh air basically into the cockpit. Here's your fuel tank expansion chamber. So the interior is extremely sparse. The original 73 RSRs had the 10,000 RPM tachometer, clock delete, and the rest of the standard instrumentation. You have your high-speed blower here for cockpit ventilation. On the floor left of the clutch pedal, you've got a factory Porsche dead pedal. The Nomex covered lightweight RSR seating with turnbuckle adjustment on the backs, RSR specific. This has a Repa over-the-shoulder harness on the driver's side only and a lap belt on the right. And the RSR door panels, very sparse, no upper bolsters with the pull straps and the minimalistic door pulls. And once again, as I said earlier, you have the rubber floor mats, because once you got to the track, you'd take that out right away and run with a bare floor on an RSR. Another thing, between the seats on this car, we have obviously the parking brake and a hand throttle, but also we have a mechanical enrichment device for the high butterfly fuel injection. Okay, in the rear, before we get to the engine, a lot of work done in the structural areas where the frame rails meet the rear beam and the rear shock absorber mounts. This engine, 3.2 liter high butterfly fuel injection, twin plug. It produces about 280 horsepower.
Boy, it sounds good. It sounds real good. There's something so special about an MFI car with those high butterflies. Man, they sound good. They make an induction noise that it's hard to replicate with anything else.
As I was talking about earlier with the mechanical enrichment device, we have a cable running from the injector pump here through the rear bulkhead into the parking brake area. These engines that we have made for this are done in Fallbrook, California at SuperTech, one of the premier guys for high butterfly fuel injection, like the early RSRs had. The amber tins, as you can see, are used throughout, as the RSRs had. Solid motor mounts by Renline, same with the transaxle mounts. This car has a 915 transaxle in it with a limited slip differential. Twin coils are mounted where they would have been mounted on an RSR, up on the rear beam there. Fuel pressure gauge located up here on top of the fuel filter cassette. So real sparse, as it was, 3.2 liter SS. Okay, this is the bottom side of our 3.2 liter stainless steel exhaust. Axles GKN. These are the big Bilsteins. Alloy trailing arms, which we've restored, and they have monoball at the front and poly bronze bushings on the spring plates at the outboard side. Elephant Racing on those. These are the RSR style anti-sway bar rear from Elephant, and they make a really nice solid anti-sway bar mount that's welded in here in place of the stamped units. And also we have the solid Renline transaxle mounts, same as the engine mounts. Up front we have the large Elephant brakes. I think this is one of the very first cars that they made this for. It's a modified 930 caliper that'll fit behind a 15-inch diameter wheel. And we have these fresh air ducts going to the big brake discs. Also from Elephant we have the poly bronze front suspension bushings. Of course the steering rack's been all restored.
If you enjoy an early air-cooled car that's raw, that doesn't have all the creature comforts, and that feels like something that just came right off of Daytona back in '73, this is it. This motor, the tranny, the steering, the tire package on an Avon-style race tire, this thing just reeks authenticity of what a real race car would have been like. And I love it.
Thanks for taking the time to view our 73 RSR Tribute car today on YouTube. You can view the car in person at Throttle Stop in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, or on their website at throttlestop.com.